courts and Congress are struggling to keep up with the breakneck pace set by the Trump administration.
We're members of Congress. Let us in.
My question for you, what can you do?
The things we can do, we should do them, even if ultimately it doesn't stop something.
Sounds to me also we may be delaying things from happening, but it sounds like they're happening nonetheless.
Today is an embarrassing day for the Democrats, more embarrassing than usual, because today they openly accepted defeat and have admitted there is literally nothing they can do. They've refused to look in the mirror and figure out why the American people aren't voting for them, and instead of changing their message or their ideology to be something that the American people would be interested in, they've decided to pose an all-out resistance movement that has fallen flat on its face and turned off even more Democrat voters. Before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you guys so much. Drop a comment down below and let me know where I should put this up in my setup. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, but first I want to show you Jimmy Kimmel destroying the Democrats for their ineffective and embarrassing and performative protest. Watch.
But we are not going to sit back and take it. Our leaders on the left are going to stand up for what's right.
We are going to fight this fight. I am going to stand with you in this fight, and we will win. 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 We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest.
Oh, we are so I mean, we are doomed. All these old men.
Jimmy Kimmel is a Democrat propaganda hack. And if he is making fun of what the Democrats are doing, you know they are in serious trouble. Now, most normal left-leaning people, they want the Democrats to provide an inspiring, forward-thinking message that resonates with the working class. But the Democrats have decided, nope, they're not going to do that, so that voting bloc is gone. So all that's left is their small percentage of supporters who just want them to fight this Trump agenda till the end. But even those supporters are starting to leave the Democrat Party after wide public consensus on Twitter shows a deep dissatisfaction at the actual protests that the Democrats are trying to perform. You had like 100 Democrat congresspeople being stopped at the door by one person. And now I'm not encouraging violence or anything, obviously, but the response from the people who want the Democrats to fight Trump's agenda is look at South Korea. Their president tried to enact martial law and block their Congress building with the literal military. And their Congress people were jumping over fences, fighting the soldiers to get in because that's how much they cared about democracy. And the sentiment from these Democrats is if Trump is this existential threat, he's this fascist, he's this end of democracy, why are you guys not fighting harder? So now they're hemorrhaging support from their purple-haired base. And once you lose the purple-haired base, there is no Democrat Party anymore. Now, one of those Congress people in the protest was Maxwell Frost. And he goes on MSNBC to try to defend their protest and try to defend their obstruction as some sort of effective strategy. But what he ends up doing is actually admitting there is nothing that the Democrats can do other than make noise and embarrass themselves and accept defeat. Watch.
Congressman, listen, you've been protesting all week. I've seen you. I've seen this on your social media, including the following. Take a quick look.
What do we need?
I mean, Maxwell, I could spend a long time telling you what we need. My question for you, what can you do?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on. I mean, obviously everybody knows we're in the minority, but you know, we have to make this decision. Do we want to act like we're in the minority or do we want to act like the opposition? And the fact of the matter is, of course, our institutional levers that we can pull to stop these things are limited. But the things we can do, we should do them. Even if ultimately it doesn't stop something, we should work to delay, to obstruct, to try to stop the things that are going to negatively impact our constituents. We can show up to these federal buildings and make sure that people across the country know exactly what's going on, and the fact that a lot of their federal elected officials have been shut out from the process.
First off, I have a couple of issues with this guy. Number one, his name, Maxwell Frost. It sounds like the kind of name that you would give yourself as a mage character in Dungeons and Dragons. And doesn't Maxwell Frost sound suspiciously close to Maxine Waters? I don't know, just throwing that one out there for you guys. Number two, this guy is 25. Now, when you're young and you're elected or you're hired to positions of power, it's because they are expecting you to provide a youthful insight, a better understanding of the modern world, and cutting-edge strategies. But because the Democrat Party is run by a bunch of geriatric elderly people, this guy is making a fool out of himself by engaging in the same strategies that might have worked in 1968. And he talks about his protest. Yeah, we're doing this so the American people know what's going on. Buddy, you guys don't even know what's going on. That's why you're sitting outside of a building getting blocked by one person and then going home, because that's the end of your thought process. You guys didn't get that far. You didn't even think ahead what would happen if just one person went outside and said, nope, you can't come in. And this is why Democrat supporters are so upset with their party, because they're seeing just truly how incompetent these people are. You didn't have a plan for if somebody came outside and said you can't get in. You didn't have a law to quote, or a statute to quote, or somebody to call to get around that. It shows the pure desperation and disarray and disorganization within the entire party. Common sense Democrats like John Fetterman are just going to align themselves with the Republicans because he knows there's a lot of political points that he could score by doing that. And the rest of you guys are just choosing the obstruct and protest route, but are proving that you have no skill in that. Now he tries to drum up some morale by saying Hakeem Jeffries, Walmart Obama, is introducing a bill in Congress that is going to stop Donald Trump and Elon Musk in their tracks, but then also admits they don't have enough votes to pass it.
We need people to be on the phones calling Republican members of Congress to tell them to grow a spine and do something. There's a bill that Hakeem Jeffries is introducing that would help stop a lot of what Elon Musk is doing. If every Democrat gets behind it, it means we only need three Republicans to get behind it too. So calling those Republicans in those frontline districts are going to be really important. And then us on the inside, we need to work at using the parliamentary procedure and the different procedures that we can in committee to stop, delay, and obstruct the worst parts here of Donald Trump's agenda. And we saw an example of this the other day in the Oversight Committee. Our ranking member, Jerry Connolly, called for a vote to subpoena Musk, caught the Republicans off guard. We almost won that vote, even though we're outnumbered on the committee. So we got to keep doing things like that and hold their feet to the fire.
I'm sorry, I hate to make fun of another young black man trying to do his thing, but God, this guy tried to claim victory by almost getting a vote passed. If your strategy is to introduce legislation that is going to fail, and if your strategy is to try to subpoena Elon Musk, which is going to fail, what plans do you guys have that are going to result in an actual, tangible, somewhat of a victory for the Democrat Party? Eventually, all of your supporters are just going to be tired of losing, and they need to figure something out quick. Because over time, as some of these Trump policies actually start to show some beneficial change to America, only more and more Democrat supporters are going to be siphoned off. And all you're going to be left with is radical lunatics in California, New York, and Chicago, whose priorities are policies that are extremely unpopular with most of Americans. Now, this is the funniest part of this entire interview as the reporter, again, an MSNBC reporter, asks him, so if I'm hearing you correctly, there is absolutely nothing you guys can do. And he's forced to admit, yeah, basically. Watch.
I'm accused often of being too optimistic and being too kind of sunny about things. But even I am kind of frustrated with the fact that this boils down to just a numbers game sometimes at the end of the day. We're trying to get a certain number of Republicans not to sign on to a lot of this. So it sounds to me that you're saying that some of the traditional ways that people's voices have been heard over time, protesting, getting out, calling your congressmen, calling your senators, that's the route that people should be taking? Because it sounds to me also we may be delaying things from happening, but it sounds like they're happening nonetheless.
Protest is really important. It's one of multiple things people should do. Obviously, we want to make sure we take it back to the House in 2 years, but we can't wait 2 years and just not do anything.
Coincidentally, doing nothing would probably be their best strategy. Either you join in with Trump and claim some glory in the wins, or you do nothing, let Trump do his thing. Either he's going to win or he's going to fail, and you can say, I had nothing to do with it. But fighting at every turn for the agenda that the American people voted on is not a winning strategy, especially if you guys can't even fight properly. You've got Donald Trump, who's in the White House signing executive orders away. You've got Elon Musk and his team of 6 who is going through a federal agency every 12 hours, and you guys are lucky to be notified that they're there, show up to protest, and then get stopped at the door. You can't pass any legislation. You can't block any of his cabinet picks, and I'm totally here for it. J.D. Vance must have the easiest job in America right now. He gets to just sit back and let Donald Trump and Elon Musk make America great, ride that momentum, and give the occasional well-articulated interview, and he's going to get the next 4 years in the White House. And you've got the Democrats who are hemorrhaging support by the day, can't even pose a solid resistance, and are probably going to get wiped in the midterms. And that's exactly what Democrat strategist James Carville says. As he said, the Democrats, every chance they get, just pick stupid. Watch.
Not everyone is on board in the Democratic Party. Top Democratic strategist James Carville is calling out his wayward party. Listen.
Some Democrats, some progressives in New York, are advocating for bereavement pet leave. Okay, so in other words, if your cat dies, you get 3 days of paid leave. Does anyone even know, like in rural America, like where I grew up, how many dead animals? And it's like there's a plant somewhere in, quote, progressive, unquote, America that just sees how many jackass, stupid things that they can embrace. It's stunningly stupid.
And the really disturbing part that I haven't even touched on is that the Democrats damn well might lose California. I touched on it a couple videos ago, but after these wildfires, the citizens of California are begging for some common sense. All of the radical, progressive, woke, virtue signaling policies that they once embraced have led to the destruction of their largest city. And now that you have Trump demanding that they install some sort of voter ID before he just gives them government money, California might be going red in the midterms. And if it does that, it is definitely going red in the 2028 elections. You can mark my words. So the last strategy the Democrats are trying to implement on top of every other trash, ineffective strategy is pulling out their big, pretentious crystal ball and telling us what the future is going to be. Hypothesizing all these doomsday scenarios about Trump might do this, Elon Musk might do that, because they can't talk about reality. Here are 2 of the worst people on earth, Joy Reid and Jamie Raskin, talking about Elon Musk is actually in the pockets of China, so watch out.
They can do whatever they want with this data. By the time the courts adjudicate this, won't it be too late? Won't they maybe have already downloaded it and repurposed it for whatever?
Well, that's why we need the courts to move so quickly and to enjoin any further leakage or any corruption and misuse of this data while we can. And it may be getting late. I mean, you mentioned the Chinese government, and Elon Musk is, of course, very much in bed with the Chinese government and the Chinese Communist Party. So if they want any of this data, they've got a very clear channel by which they can get it.
Both as a businessman and as somebody with common sense, I cannot for the life of me understand why they think people are so stupid that they're going to believe this talking point. Why would Elon Musk want to support the Communist Party of China? Why would he want to enrich them? Why would he want to help them become the world's superpower? Why would the richest man on earth want to be at the whim of a country that literally does not allow private ownership? So you're telling me Elon Musk is fighting so hard for China to usurp the US so he can give all of his assets and his businesses over to the CCP? If he cares so much about enriching himself and becoming wealthier, why would he want to create a situation where all of that can be taken away at the snap of a finger? This guy bought Twitter and lost billions of dollars in doing so simply to allow free speech to occur. You think somebody who cares that much about free speech is actually somehow wanting to be controlled in a world order by communist China? It's like the lack of common sense that the Democrats have never ceases to amaze me. They are in shambles, they are finished, and they have officially accepted defeat. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those notification bells so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.